Okay, we'll get her going here. Good morning and welcome everybody at LePage Prime to another Red Talk. Today we've got Tom Storey with us from the Toronto area. And Tom, thank you so much for joining us. We were talking and joking about doing, again, my Spit and Chicklets interview introduction. I'm not going to try the accent, but Tom is, for lack of better words, the guy's a stud. He has quickly ascended to one of the top ranks in LePage at being in the Chairman's Club at the tender age of 28. Geez, I think I had more hair back then. Named the top 35, under 35 in Canada. And again, we've had a chance to talk a few times, and this guy is just a wealth of knowledge and a great guy, and really, we're really lucky to have him. So again, welcome Tom Storey, and thank you for joining us today.
Yeah. Hey, Michael, thank you so much for having me on. Especially for everyone, listening and watching too, is like, I fully understand that we're all zoomed out at this point. So I'm not going to give you high level, stay positive thinking. I'm going to give you like things that you can do right now that I think are going to improve your business. Cause I want to kind of value pack as much as I can into this seminar today, because I think we've kind of heard the same loop over the last month.
Yeah.
And I want to try and give you like, something that you can take away, execute on today that's going to move your business forward, because things are going to get better. It's just going to take a little bit at a time.
Yeah, absolutely. So what is the current climate like right now for you in Toronto? Like, what's your market doing? I know we chatted a bit about it. Anything changed, or is this thing still tanking, or what's going on over there?
Yeah, I mean, the Toronto market has been hit extremely hard. I know for anyone out there, you're like, finally, you guys take a hit. But sales are down 80% year over year, like 80. So it's serious. Wow. The pie is 80% smaller. New listings, though, are also down about 64% year over year, which is at least encouraging to me, because it means that the balance of supply and demand should level out and prices are holding so far. But otherwise, like, our market is on pause. No one's doing anything. I have several listings right now. It's getting to the point where, like, if I get a showing on my listing, it's the same feeling as I used to get when I get an offer on my listings. Like, it's really changed here. Yeah, it's like, March 15th, someone hit a pause button. Our real estate board told us very clearly, like, do not meet with people face to face. Like, they didn't ban it, but they said, like, unless it's absolutely necessary, don't meet with people face to face. So it's been pretty quiet here. So a lot of times, kind of look at the business from the bird's eye view and tweak things to make it better.
Yeah, and you were telling me the other day that it's kind of even just the public. You said, like, tacking a sign in the ground, people are giving you the dirty eye for kind of. Is that kind of still the vibe out there? Is just the general people don't like to see you out there and working?
Yeah, well, I think it was like, when they put out the list of essential services and all the realtors' stupid posts of like, look at me, I'm essential. And I think, the public's perception, like, I was at a point where I had to list a house, and I was actually nervous to put a for sale sign up, because the public backlash at realtors being like, okay, we understand why you're essential, but you shouldn't actively be trying to trade right now. I'd say it's gotten a little bit better over the last few weeks, but you're not posting about solds online unless you did it 100% virtually. You're really trying to keep things behind the hood right now.
Yeah, gotcha. So I'm not sure, Tom, if you're seeing me fluidly. You're kind of lagging a little bit. The audio is coming through really clearly, but I'm not sure if that's internet connections, whatever it is. So we can still hear you loud and clear. You're crystal clear. The audio or the video is lagging a little bit. So if you're doing any crazy hand gestures, you'll
okay, fair enough. But the audio is good though, right?
Audio is good, and that's of course what counts. But even though you're fun to look at too. So
okay.
Yeah. So one of the things, again, you started your career, again, you're Toronto, it's saturated with agents. You can't really shake a stick without hitting an agent. And here you are, 22 years old, 6 years ago, 22, into the market. What was that like for you?
Yeah, I'll be honest, like, the first year was really tough. I did this right out of university. I started getting my license in fourth year. I went out at 22. When you start when you're that young, and I didn't have family in the industry, I just really wanted to give this a shot. And, like, first of all, my friends that actually trusted me couldn't afford to buy real estate. They couldn't even afford to rent real estate at that point.
Right.
their parents certainly didn't trust me when I was 22. Like my own family members moved without me in my first year of real estate, and I didn't take it to heart. It was like, okay, like it's a trust thing. You got to earn your stripes here. So I would say it's been like that first year. I wouldn't say it was a waste, but I learned a lot of what not to do and be more strategic with my business. That first year, I think this is the best way to look at it. Seth Godin talks about how there's a big difference between an entrepreneur and a freelancer. And as realtors, we all call ourselves entrepreneurs, but truth, what we are is freelancers. We get paid for our time. So after that 1 year hit, I got really into systems coaching, understanding my business model, and becoming an actual entrepreneur, not just someone running around being paid for my time.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I know we're going to talk a lot more about that. So how did you even in getting into, let's say you're 23, 24, still on the young side. Again, I started at 23, so I've been there. How did you overcome that objection maybe of, how long you been in the business, or you get
Right.
that, right? So how did you overcome those kind of questions and objections from clients?
You know what? I found out pretty quickly that as long as you're confident, and there's a big difference between being cocky about something and being fully confident in what you're talking about. I knew if I got a seat at the table, I could impress them. So I spent so much time learning every stat I possibly could about the Toronto market. Like if you asked me what a condo sold for in that building with that floor plan, I could tell you because I studied it. Like I knew I didn't have the advantage of having the experience, so I was just going to outwork you. That's
Right.
basically what it came down to. And I realized pretty quickly too, when you meet with someone, I still get it now. Like I'm 28 now. I still, when I walk into a husband and wife at a table, they'll give each other the look, being like, "Who is this kid?" But once you get to sit down and show them what you know what you're talking about, it goes away pretty quick. And actually, rarely have people said to me like, "How long have you been doing this?"
Yeah. Well, that's definitely something I know, there's I know there's some people, young guys watching and young girls watching. That was it was a Richard Robbins conference. I know you're coached by him. It was a Richard Robbins conference. I went to my first one, and he said the exact same thing to everybody in the room. He says, all you young people, he says, don't you hate the question of being asked, how long you've been in the business or how many homes have you sold? And he says, the only reason you're getting asked that is because it sounds like, and it looks like you don't know what you're doing. And
Yeah.
to your point exactly is going, hey, you know what? I'm new and I'm young. There's 2 strikes. I can't give them a third. And so you have to have completely loaded up with stats and knowledge to wow them. Because again, you're skating on thin ice right when you walk in the door. So,
Oh, absolutely. And like you're a big company, as is my Royal LePage in Toronto. Like for that first year, 2 years, I was using my company stats.
yeah,
I wasn't using mine because I didn't have them. And that's, I think, one of the big things that our brand doesn't actually talk about as much as they should is like, we're established, we're 100 years old. Like people know what it is. And it really helped my first few years.
absolutely. That's great. Uh, so you kind of talked about learning those lessons about being an entrepreneur. So what were some of those big ones that that helped you make the leap? What were some of those key lessons that you had to learn about building systems and being an entrepreneur, as you talked about, to take that leap?
Yeah. So number one, like if anyone's kind of watching this, or at least you can hear me and you're taking notes, I think you have to create what your perfect day looks like. That's where it started with me. The first thing I did is I created a full week schedule, and I would jot in, first of all, my personal time first. And then I would go back and I put in ideally when I'd like to look at offers, when I'd like to show properties. And then all I did from there is my goal that week, because really there's like 3 things where we can make money in real estate, right? You can show properties, you can meet with a new buyer, or you can meet with a new seller, or you can send offers, right? Like those are kind of the things that we should all be doing.
Yeah.
So all I would think about is I'd have those 4 things on the side, and my Monday morning I would sit down, look at my list of who I need to contact, and I would try and fill the slots. So I was time blocking my appointment times. And it's so amazing. Like, I always look back, and we've heard this analogy in real estate before. Like, you want to run it like a dentist office, right? The dentist calls you and go like, here's our times. When do you want to come in? And you're like, okay, fine. I'll go in at 8 a.m. on Thursday. Right. So same idea is 90% of the time I'm giving people, 2 options, hey, Michael, do you want to meet, Thursday at 2 p.m. or would you rather Friday at 10 a.m.? And they're picking one of them. So first thing is like create that perfect week, because your personal time, I don't want anyone that's watching this to get to a point where you're selling 100 homes a year, but you're waking up not excited anymore. Like, I really don't think that's worth it. So figure out what your personal life is and your business life is, and try to create like that perfect medium. Because as we all know, like, real estate, being in this business is kind of a lifestyle, right? Like, it never really stops. So you kind of just have to find that perfect middle ground. So number one, create that ideal week. Like, get that, put out a blank calendar, have it printed out, slabbed on your desk so you can see it every single day. Number two was creating systems for every part of my business. So if I'm onboarding a new buyer, here's a checklist of everything that needs to happen. If I'm onboarding a new listing, same thing. So systems and checklists. And by the way, at the end of this, I'm happy to share the link with everybody watching of all of our team systems, and you can take it and tweak it and make it better.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, but you were saying there, so systems are just a series of checklists, right? And so if I understand you correctly, you kind of sat down, was like, hey, what does every single step look like in the ideal process for unloading a new buyer or whatever it is, and just creating checklists essentially. So
that's it. And there's a lot of pain points.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah,
just really quickly, there's a lot of pain points, not just for the client, but for us. Like, think of all the things that you don't like doing along the way that are always come up, or like whatever it is in your own business, and find those pain points and figure out a solution to them. Because once you figured it out, the whole process can be streamlined, and it's really rewarding that you can wake up and like not worry about doing all this paperwork because you know how it's going to happen.
Right. Absolutely. So when we started creating these systems, I'm kind of creating this vision of, there you are at 22, 23, and you're putting the systems in. But some people say, okay, great, I have systems, but I need leads in order to fill those slots. So how did you, again, being a young guy, how did you go out and attack the market and get leads and start bringing in clients?
Sure. So the whole kind of thought process behind my business model is visibility beats ability. So that doesn't mean that ability doesn't matter. It absolutely does. You need to know your stuff. But if you never get an opportunity to show them that you know your stuff, it doesn't matter, right? So that's why, like, if you look me up on Instagram or Facebook or anything, like, we are actively posting content to the people that we know to remind them that we know what we know, right? And it's such a simple concept, but I actually think, and a lot of what I'm going to talk about today, like, it's not revolutionary. It's just we all know we should do it, but we're not doing it for whatever reason, right? Because it's so simple that we think like, oh yeah, I know I need to do that.
Right.
But how I would get leads at the beginning is I made myself the expert. I learned the numbers. I started creating monthly videos, updating and even to this day, I'll get Facebook messages, Instagram messages from people that I haven't talked to in years being like, hey, Tom, I'm ready to list my house, come over. And I just walk in, and it's the easiest thing ever because they've been watching my content. And something I'll keep in mind is, it doesn't have to be videos because I know not everyone's comfortable on video, but whether that's writing blog posts, monthly newsletters, there has to be something that's going to keep you top of mind with the database, because the database when you first start isn't going to be past clients.
Right.
It's just not. So it's going to be people that you know and people that you think trust you. And then over a period of time, you're going to have the past clients that slot into there. And actually, another thing, I heard this yesterday. I thought this was really cool. Instead of calling past clients, because it sounds like a dirty word, like they're already done, they're in the past.
Yeah.
It's either active clients or inactive clients, right? Inactive, you've done your job, they're in their house. So I think that's a nice way to look at it.
Mm-hmm.
But I would just say, like, I did everything I possibly could to be visible. So there's the marketing side and there's the sales side. So on the marketing side, that's all the things you're doing to get the crowd in front of you, right? Or get the seat at the kitchen table. And then the sales side, that's when you show your ability, but the ability doesn't matter because I know a lot of realtors that do amazing amounts of business. I can tell you they are no smarter than anybody else. And I know a lot of really, really smart people that don't do very much business, and it just doesn't add up. The doers and the ones that connect with people, like, realistically, it's a numbers game, right? You talk to more people, you're going to do more business.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell me a bit more about kind of the video content you are producing and some of the content there that you've been producing and you still are to this day.
Yeah, so every single month, we're creating a 2-minute video called the Storey Report. And it's basically just whatever the stats are, I sit down, I record myself, I talk about it. The big thing with video is that it needs to be consistent. It needs to be written into your business plan like everything else. If you do one video in January, never do it again, it's not going to make a difference. So every single month, my database knows that I'm going to be updating them with a video. And sometimes even a few days will go by and someone will be like, hey, where's your video this month? Like they remember because like real estate's fun. It's
Yeah.
a fun conversation. We have to remember, like, real estate's sexy. This isn't life insurance, right? Like people want to talk to us. We have a good stepping off point, right? So the consistency is the big thing. So number one is the monthly reports. Number two is the valuable Instagram content where it's basically like a Q&A show. So every week I'll put out a thing and I'll just answer a question. So, you know, for every buyer and seller, I'd say there's probably 10 questions that they all ask. You know, you go to every meeting and they kind of ask the same thing and you have your generic responses.
Right.
Write those down and film a video answering them because that's what people want to see. But more than ever, what I think we need to remember with the video content is that so many people silently watch and listen, but don't comment or like. You don't realize how many people, and that's not just potential clients, but the amount of referral business I've done from other realtors across Canada, from being the guy on Instagram in Toronto that's putting out the content at all times. It's just it's taken to things that I never knew could happen, including like all the media that I do in Toronto. The only reason I had that opportunity is because I showed them, I gave them the visibility that I knew what I was doing, and it got me on TV, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, and so now you said even after this meeting, you're going on, you're talking to global. So,
Yep.
yeah, I mean, that wasn't. I didn't want to take a huge amount of time with it, but maybe share a little bit about how you kind of got in with the media and how that's helped your
Yeah.
business.
Yeah, so it's actually kind of interesting. I remember when you know, over the past kind of 3 years, I've probably been in 60 to 75 media publications, whether that's live TV, newspaper, online, everything. And it all started from making a crappy little video in my 1-bedroom condo doing a market update. Okay, so, and then what happened is I would actually go into the articles that I'd read about real estate online, and I'd see who wrote them, and I'd send them my video. I'd be like, hey, look, this is what I have to say. So that was really helpful. But you know, the main point I want to get across, media is nice. My clients think it's cool. Other realtors think it's cool. I'll tell you though, the amount of direct business I get from it is almost zero. And I think that's actually important. Um, People do not pick a realtor because they see the one bus bench. They don't pick a realtor because they saw them once speaking on TV. They pick them because they asked their friend who they trust who should help them sell their home. So I continue to do the media because it keeps me on my toes. And my thing with my clients is like, you know, I have to know the numbers so well because I go on live TV and talk about it. That's your benefit. That's your competitive advantage. But honestly, it doesn't bring in a lot of business. And I think that's actually good because that means that we know where people are getting the referrals from, and it's not from watching that reality show or whatever, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's good. So on that topic, then, with referrals, you've built an amazing referral system, and again, a big source of your business. And I think that's everyone's source of business. Every realtor,
Yep.
that's number one, right? Repeat and referral. So maybe you can dive into your systems there about your referral system.
Yeah, so I'll give you kind of a quick overview, and then if it's okay, I'll actually share my screen and kind of go into what my plan is, and I'll send you all these slides after the fact.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it's just fair to say that working with people we know is just better. Like, there's no other way to put it. When you get to meet with someone referred to, you can kind of just sit there and be like, okay, how can I help? It's not like a sales pitch, right? It doesn't feel. It's just like, okay, you already trust me because this person put themselves on the line by referring me. It's just better business. So I'm going to share my screen here. Okay, does that work?
Yes, there it goes. It kicked in. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. All right, so what I'm going to go over here is a 12-month plan that I think everybody can put into place right now. And I promise you, if you're patient with it and strategic with it, it will bring you amazing results. So the best way to look at it is, first of all, finding out where your past business actually came from, the true cost of running a 100% referral business, Once you've mastered the referral business, I'll give you my step-by-step on how you can create a farming system if that's something that you're interested in. And then a thought process of how we can take every listing that we have and turn it into 5 possible sale opportunities. But the big thing is this. So I know I already mentioned this, right? Like, this is my favorite quote. I say this every single day when everyone asks me, like, okay, well, how do you do business? Where does it come from? Like, well, I'm visible. I'm out there. I'm talking with people. I'm putting content out. And this right here, that our clients only need us less than 1% of the time. So I want you to think about that. We think, like, we talk about real estate all day long. It's so important to us. This is our job. It's our career. But the average person only needs to move, or actually needs our services, like 1% of their lifespan, maybe 2% if they move a lot.
Yeah.
So I want you to think 99% of the time when you're sending them content, newsletters, client events, whatever, they don't actually need you, right? They don't. But when that 1% comes, why are they going to call you? And that's what I really want to focus on. So my business model for the past 5 years has been very good on, the golden rule was made famous by the Four Seasons Hotel and Isidore Sharp that started it. And he would say, you treat people the way you want to be treated. It's like it's nice, right? But I read this book called The Platinum Rule.
Yeah.
And it's like, what if you could treat people the way they want to be treated? And that was like a light bulb. I was like, oh man, like, I'm going to treat people so well that they're never, ever going to consider going anywhere else and are going to want to refer me when I sleep.
Yeah.
So why I know this system works is because I've been running it for the last 5 years. Last year, I got a 25% return. So I have, in my core database of people, I only have about 230 people. But just from this system I'm going to show you today, I did just under 60 transactions from 230 people.
Yeah.
Now, however many people you have in your database, I know if you put the system into place right now and run it for the next 6 months, you can minimum get up to a 15% return. And I think if you put this in place for the next year, you're going to get a 20% return. So if you have 100 people in your database, I know you could do 20 transactions. And I'm not the only example. I didn't create this system, but a lot of other top agents laid this out on a platter for me and said, this has been working for us. You should try and tweak it to your own. So all the ideas I'm giving you today, you don't have to copy what I do, but create a January to December list of how you're going to contact your database.
Yeah. I'm to interrupt for a sec, Tom. I just wanted to,
Yeah.
I forgot to mention to anyone, again, the Q&As, if you guys, Tom is going to be taking some questions after our chat here. So if you have any questions throughout it, just type them into the Q&A box and I'll get to them. So, but anyways, sorry to interrupt. Just wanted to throw that out.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. Yeah, if there's questions that come up as I'm talking, feel free to stop me if I have to answer them on the go. That's perfectly fine. Yeah. Okay, so we'll start with this. Where does your business actually come from? This is what mine looks like. Just mine, not my team. So just from this one system, I did 59 transactions. 27 sales came from repeat, so that was 46% of my business. Referral was 25%, and then new business is 29%. So in these two up here, you can run a great business model only by doing these two. But at some point, your business is just going to kind of level off if you're not adding new people.
Yeah.
So how do you bring in new people? Well, if you bring in new people, then every year your business can grow. And I honestly don't even do a lot of online leads, but I've switched my thought process behind it. It used to be like, okay, all online leads are crap, blah, blah, blah. Even the rock stars are converting 4%. If I just think like, okay, if I could do such a good job for this person and make them a past client, then they may have started as an online lead, but they're going to now go into this system, because I actually truly think the before sale and the after sale system are way more important than the during the process of helping them buy and sell a property, because you're going to make way more money off referrals from your inactive clients than you are from the one transaction when it happens.
Right.
So if everyone can look back at your numbers in 2019, what you've done so far in 2020, figure out specifically what was repeat, what was referral, what was new. And for the ones that were referral or new business, if it was strategic alliance, have you thanked the person that sent it to you? Because it's these little small things that are going to make a big difference.
Yeah. And
so
sorry to interrupt, Tom. Sorry to interrupt. You just mentioned what I saw in there, and we talked about it the other day. You break up strategic alliance referrals from a different kind of referral. Why do you kind of separate those two? Because I know a lot of them will lump in repeat and referral into one. You kind of have them segmented here. Can you just maybe touch on that?
Yeah, for sure. So any realtor referral to me or mortgage broker referral, that's considered new business because they weren't in my database of core inactive clients. So I think you can trick yourself by thinking like, oh, I did this many referrals, but to me, a referral is someone from your database. Like it's a past client, it's someone from your database that referred you someone else because you've already worked with them, or it's just someone that is in your center of influence that you'd never worked with before, but they referred you business. But a strategic alliance, other realtors, mortgage brokers, that to me is brand new business.
Yeah, cool. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay. Yeah, no worries. So I'm going to now go through my full plan, January to December, every single month, what we do and why I do it. And just a few things to remember as we get into this. I promise you, I really promise you, if you take this seriously today and implement it into your system, you can get a 20% return within the next year, if not 6 months. A reminder that working with the people you know is just better. There's no other way to put it. And if you had a bad experience with a client, this plan's not going to save you, right? Like it's still not going to save you. You still got to be awesome at what you do when you're actually going through the buying and selling process. But just keep that in mind. And I promise you, if you're patient with this, it's going to work. Okay, so January, every single year, we put a trades and services booklet together, which is basically anything you could need about home ownership all in one place. So it gives me 3 touch points for my database. So in December, I'm going to email everyone in my database and say, hey, I'm putting together my 2020 trades and services booklet. Who do you know that's an awesome accountant, that's great at computer repair, that's good at flooring? So that's one touch point that has nothing to do with sales. Then they feel like they're a part of it. Then when it's made, I send it to them. And it lets me tell all the businesses that I've put them in my referral directory, and I'm now getting referrals from those businesses. So it's a very simple concept. We actually make the physical hard booklets and actually physically mail them out to our database, but they can also access this on our website. So trades and services, and I'm happy to even send you the template email of how you can communicate with your database that you're putting this together. And like, you'd be surprised how many people want to tell you people, like when they have someone they really trust that's an awesome home repair person, they want to send it out to you. Yep. And I know this works because I've gone to a lot of housewarming parties and this is still in their kitchen counter. They didn't immediately throw it into the garbage. Right?
Well, yeah. So if I could interrupt you for a second, what is your, let's say, again, you're 250 people in your database, and let's say you get a lot of referrals. How do you scrutinize these to say, well, because you don't want to have a dud in there, right? You don't want to.
No, you're right.
So how do you do that?
Yeah, so if it comes in from someone in our database, we are then calling them and specifically asking them questions about their experience and how they know that person. So we're not just throwing anybody in there. We've had one experience where one client didn't have a great experience with someone, and we immediately took them out. Right. So we're pretty strict about it, and we let the companies know too. Like, listen, we're doing this for free for you. There's no fee to be in this book, but I know I'm going to get you business. Mm-hmm. I need you to put the absolute best caliber service because this is on me now. And if you don't, then we're going to change with somebody else. And companies get it. So and I've had this question come up before. I would rather have one person have a bad experience and implement this than keep it as an idea and never actually do it.
Right.
Because that one person that had a bad experience, I got to then make up for it. I ended up sending it to someone new and paying for the whole thing, and he loved it. Right? So through a bad experience, I was able to show like, I actually care. I'm not just here for your next sale. Let me help you. I'll find a solution to this.
Yeah, exactly. Anytime there's a problem, it's your chance to be the hero, right? So that's great. And also, go ahead.
Sorry, go on.
I just you said the first touch point is asking people to recommend. The second touch point is actually mailing it out. The third touch point is, I'm assuming, a follow-up.
Is actually talking. It's the follow-up, or it's actually the touch point of speaking with the businesses in it.
Okay, gotcha. Cool.
Right. So it gives you 3 opportunities to possibly generate more referrals. And the greatest thing, what you'll notice about this plan is that I would say 80% of it has nothing to do with actually selling real estate or my knowledge of real estate. This is a visibility plan that reminds people when that 1% of their life comes, why would they call me? Okay.
Exactly. And you said this stays in the kitchen drawer, right? Or on the coffee table. So
yep.
They're looking at you.
Yeah. And people refer to it all the time. Like, hey, I used your plumber and it went great. Thanks so much. It's really cool to see that it's actually being used. As we head into February, don't worry, I cover up this ugly logo up here with the Royal LePage one, but we send out free home show tickets. So I'm not exactly sure how it works in your market, but in our market, it costs me $1 per ticket. I'm not asking my database if they want to go. I'm buying them and sending it to their door. They don't they can then go if they want. If they go, it charges me $12, but if they don't go, it's only $1. I've never been to the home show, but my clients love it. Obviously this year it was canceled, right? But this is just another thing. Like, all of your active people, your inactive clients, people like to talk about real estate and go to things. And again, this gives me 3 opportunities. Hey, do you want to go to the home show? Hey, did you get your tickets in the mail? Hey, did you have fun at the home show? So we're always looking for opportunities to speak with our clients that aren't like the, hey, can you refer me some business? Do you know anyone looking to buy or sell? Like, never too busy for your referrals. Like, those are words I never want to say because I want to always be on the top of their mind.
Beauty.
Okay. Now this is where it gets into what you know. So twice a year, I'm sending virtual CMAs to everybody in my database. Now, initially, the reaction I usually get when I tell people this is like, well, Tom, how much time does that take? It takes a lot of time, but it's the best return on investment that I do in my business all year long. So in 2019, from sending these videos out, just from these videos, I signed up 10 listings. Now, this is simple screen record. You can use this program. You can use Zoom to do this. You can use Loom, Loom, or you can use BombBomb, anything that lets you record your screen and you be a face in the corner. And all I'm doing, now this isn't me saying, hey, Michael, your house is worth $526,000. It's me saying, hey, Michael, here's the last 3 properties that sold on your street. I hope you're doing well. I know you're not looking to sell right now, but as we head into the spring market, I thought it's valuable to know the value of your house. This is my twice a year real estate health check, and people love it.
Yeah.
And they can't believe that you're actually speaking directly to them.
Fantastic. Great stuff.
And now these are strategically being done twice a year, right before the spring market and right before the fall market. Okay.
Yep.
As we get into April, we start doing micro events. So I do a big event every year and it's great and it's a lot of fun, but it's really hard to actually speak with everybody, right? Yeah. And for anyone that's never done an event before and you're saying like, well, I can't do an event, start small. Because the micro events, I tell people in the email, hey, Michael, would you like to come? I'm doing a pasta making class. We get to make pasta and drink wine. Are you interested? Please let me know because I have a limited capacity of 20 people. Like, they feel special because they made the list, right? Which is, I think, a really cool way to look at it. And then but you know what, more than anything, it's about creating an experience. How are you going to treat your people amazingly well? Think about the money that we spend on marketing and real estate that we can't see a real return, or you could spend that $1,500 on throwing an awesome experience for your absolute top people and wow them. Like, how many people, and you know what's cool is anyone that you think is a top client of yours that maybe is kind of an introvert and they wouldn't come to one of these alone, tell them to bring their friend, tell them to bring their spouse. Absolutely. Because I can't tell you how many transactions I've done from someone bringing a friend to one of my micro events. And most of the ones that you do, you don't have to be the center of attention. Like pasta making, we had someone doing it. I was just a participant. We went to this speakeasy where you go into this cool kind of like champagne and you pull this pink champagne bottle and it opens up into the 1950s. Like, it's all it is creating experience. And for these events, I'm not taking any pictures because I didn't invite all my clients, but at some point, everyone in my database is going to be at one of these events.
Gotcha. Do you have, I see in that one of the pictures there, I know you're not promoting it because you don't really want to alienate the rest of your database. Are you okay with your clients who are coming to that micro event sharing and tagging Tom? Thanks, Tom Storey, for the thing, or do you kind of shut down the phones? That's cool though. Okay.
No, I'm totally cool with that. If it shows up on my Facebook, I might just hide the post because I'm not worried about my people seeing it. I'm more interested in their network seeing it. So yeah, absolutely. Right. And I'll show you, there's another micro event we do at the end of the year, which I'll go through, and we actually give them kind of a gift bag as they're leaving. And it's really like the way we think about it, like what part of this event is Instagrammable, right? It sounds funny, but that's visible, right? And I want to be visible, and it's really cool. So As we get into May and June, I'm going to go through these quickly because let's be real, like we should be selling real estate during these months. This is busy time, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I don't have time to do these big things. So we do Instagram contests. We have a Facebook VIP page just for our clients. And, once a month, we'll just throw in a gift card for Starbucks for $100. That's just like a scan, and just say, hey, happy Sunday. Go grab your coffee on us, first come, first serve. And people love it. Or you put in an Uber gift card and just do cool things for your database. As we get into June, our main touch point is just sending our large client event invite. For the large client event, that's when we head into July. So we rent out a big space. You can see the cost down there. I put that in red. What I wanted to make clear is most of my money I spend on this system is on parties. It's not actually on the other stuff, but this puts all my people in a room. If you're worried about, well, what if enough people aren't going to show up? Get your mortgage broker, your lawyer to sponsor the event and get them to bring some of their own people, like team up with others. Yep. And the coolest thing is that those people in the room, they don't know each other. So the first conversation they're going to have is, hey, my name's whatever. Nice to meet you. How do you know Tom? Like I'm the middle ground between everybody. And then what's also neat is I can't tell you how many times when I'm having these events, clients come up to me and be like, are all these people your clients? Right? Like we have to remember, like, the people we work with don't necessarily know that we have to work with way more people than them to make a living, right? Like it's a one-on-one transaction. And when they can see like, oh, you actually know all these other people, that's really cool. And they kind of put you on a higher pedestal in a weird way. Mm-hmm. When you can show them what you do. Again, this is about creating experiences. So if you can see in the right corner here, there's two people getting massages. Like we had a massage therapist come. Yeah. That cost me $200, but totally worth it. We have the funny photo booth where we tag people and send it to them. And then most of the likes and comments we get are just their network. It's not even them. Mm-hmm. So, but I mean, let's be real. The real reason people come to events is because of this, right? Yeah. You have to have an open bar.
Yeah, I've learned that one.
Yeah. As we head into August, this is going to look like deja vu. It's the same thing I did before. And I don't want you to quickly look over this and just go like, oh, well, I can't do this. If you're sending paper CMAs anyways, these take 1/10 of the time and they're way more powerful. And I get to say, like, I'll give you a live kind of what it would look like. So if I was sending it to Michael, I'd say, hey, Michael, it's Tom from LePage. I hope you're having an awesome day. I know you can see my screen here. What I'm actually going to show you, and I'm going to link these below, is the last 3 properties that sold on your street. So this will probably give you a better idea of what your property is worth. This is just my real estate health check. I hope you're having an awesome day. If you want to grab a coffee, let me know. Like literally, it can be a minute. Yeah. You don't have to overthink this. There's no editing. You film it, you send it. Stop overthinking it. I can't tell you how powerful these type of videos are. And you can also use this for a new buyer. Hey, Michael, here's the 3 properties just came up. I really like this one. And you click through the photos. We should go see this one this afternoon, right? It just shows that you're doing something different than just putting them on an automated list, which all of us can do, right? Like it's not that special anymore.
Absolutely.
And the big thing is that my response rate, I get an 85% open rate on these. Everyone opens it. And in the title of the email, it's Michael, your updated home value, right? Like your dopamine, just because I put your name, like, when you see on Facebook, the red notifications, you weirdly feel good for a second. You don't know why. Yeah. It's the same thing. You got to put it in there. September, something charity focused. So we do an event with Baycrest, which is for Alzheimer's research in Toronto, where you get to play with a pro. So that's actually Wendell Clark on our team there. We raised a bunch of money. We got to ask our clients for money. A lot of our clients were actually a part of the team. It was such a fun experience, and it doesn't have to be September. Ours just lined up when this event was actually happening. But just something, whether it's like messaging your clients being like, hey, I'm doing a jacket pickup for a clothing drive. Let me drop by. It gives you an opportunity to go to their house. There's so many things that we could do. You have to remember that if you're just doing this on a transaction basis, you're not going to get referrals. You have to be human, you have to be good, and pick something that you actually care about. Like, Alzheimer's sucks, it's gotten into my family, I hate it, I want to find a cure, like I'm really passionate about this, that's why I chose this. So I just think, like, if you're not doing anything charity wise, I'd really consider starting this year. You have the time now to put the plan in place.
Absolutely.
And I just put this picture in there for fun. There's Wendell Clark about to hit me in the face. Yeah. Then we get back to kind of, normal stuff. In October, we're going to do the pumpkin drop off. I would say most of my clients don't care about pumpkins, but George right here, George is 5 years old, and he sends me a thank you video for his pumpkin every year, and I get to post it on social media. And that right on its own is
everything.
That's it. That's it, right? Like, we always think like, oh, are we, are going to annoy people by always contacting them? Or like, all it takes is that one thing that makes it worth it. And I think that happens all the time. If you have never done an event before, I'm going to give you an idea that you can, once this is over, what you can do. Manicures and mimosas is the easiest event of all time. So you call up your local nail salon and say, hey, I'm going to bring 25 to 30 people in. Mine happened to be all women. I didn't make it that way, but no guy said yes. And by the way, the husbands loved it because they're like, you're getting my wife's nails done and feeding her alcohol? Like, thanks, man. I got my Saturday. Yeah. So this event, essentially, they're coming in. It's 25 to 30 people. They sit down, get their nails done. I wear a stupid, like, fake, like bow tie kind of shirt, like with the suit, the t-shirt, and I go around and just hand them mimosas. And it's so much fun. We give them these little thank you things. You can see all these things on here. I didn't post any of these.
Right.
These were clients that then posted this out, nice Saturday manicure, the realtor that keeps giving. If anyone's looking for a realtor in Toronto, like, it's just such a strong thing. I've ran this event 2 years in a row. The first year, I can already track, I did 4 transactions specifically from this event. And from the one that I ran last November, I've already done 2. This is powerful. And when you reach out to your database and say, hey, I'm doing this small event for my top people, it's manicures and mimosas, would you like to come? I've never had people respond to an event so fast. They say yes right away. They're like, oh yeah, you're gonna pay for my nails and give me alcohol? Like, sign me up.
Yeah,
right?
Geez, especially after this, the pandemic here, I think you'll that one will be sold out real quick. You could probably do 5 of them.
Exactly. And I've also done a similar one like this actually in my own condo, where I had clients come over and I hired a company to teach us how to make cocktails. Yeah. So again, not everything has to be alcohol related. It just seems to be that's what's happened. Yeah. But whatever you like to do and your database likes to do, write down a list of 10 ideas you could do for micro events. Because I think if you did micro events 4 times a year, it would be much more powerful than that one big party that costs way more money.
Yeah. And are you inviting different people? So the micro event number 1 to number 2, you're hitting a totally different number,
correct
people invited. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Sorry, go on.
Oh, I just had, there's a question that came in about the bomb stuff, but I'll let you finish up the micro event here.
Yeah, for the micro events, I would still consider them my A's, but I try to, invite specific people to specific events if I think they're going to jive with the other people going.
Right, gotcha. So the question that came in about the bomb, and I just missed it right when you're on that topic, but it says, is the bomb video program scalable, or do you suggest to do every video individually per client?
Okay, so I think it's more powerful if you do it individually per client, even though I know that would take way more time. However, it is absolutely scalable if you have a lot of clients that live in the same community. You could send one out and be like, hey, here's your, what's a specific community area in Winnipeg?
Yeah, North Kelowna.
Yeah. Okay, right. So you could call it that report and send it to all your clients that live in that area. And I think the same message would still get across. So you can certainly leverage it.
Yeah, cool. Hope that answers your question. Thanks, Taylor.
As we head into December, we go old school, right? We're still going to send the magnets. Now, it's getting to a point in time right now that people actually don't know what day it is. So these magnets are actually useful for once. Yeah. Right? But then it's this. So like, I'm then going to do the same thing. This takes a ton of time, but I promise you it's why I get a 25% return on my database, because I truly do care about them and I touch base with them at all times. I'm sending a happy holidays email. You can see this was sent December 22nd at 3:58 p.m. It was 20 seconds long. Hey, Lisa, happy holidays. Thanks again for all your support this year. Have a great year. I'll talk to you next year. Super simple. Don't overthink it. Just send it. it's crazy how in a world of mass email lists and things like that, how a personal email to somebody saying their name, sometimes they respond, they're like, oh, Tom, that's so cool, you said my name, I didn't think this was just for me, right?
Yeah.
It makes a big difference. So again, I know this sounds so simple, but the question is, are you doing it?
Yeah,
Right?
exactly. Right. And you also said the three magic words of sales, just for you, right? When people
Yep.
feel that it's, hey, this is just for me. It was personalized. You didn't just mail out a bunch of stuff. You took the time, right? And that means something. So good stuff.
That's it. So I don't want to kind of go over this too much, but I want to go over the money aspect of it, because I think that's what people are thinking is like, okay, this all looks great. What does this cost? And what I'll preface this with is like, this is me 5 years into this plan. My first year on this plan, it cost me $5,000, year number one. And it's grown every year since. So if you're not doing this, it's not like you have to start here, but just start somewhere, allocate a certain amount of money to your clients, right? So again, I know commissions in Toronto are different, so I'll be very clear about that as well. But this plan cost me about $45,000 in 2019. However, it brought in about this much in gross commission. So I'll make that investment all day long, right? So don't get stuck up on the numbers. What I want you to really focus on is for every dollar I spent on this plan, I got $14 back. And more importantly, I got to work with people that I already liked. And if they're going to refer me their friends and family, they're probably like them. You know, Michael, one of the things that I learned very, very early on, and Rich Robbins taught me this, is like, listen, you can win over a jackass, but who do you think all their friends are?
Right. Exactly.
Right? Just work with good people. So then it's doing the math. So how many people do you have in your database? What's your average sale price in your area? What are you willing to spend? So not anyone's going to make my database. If I meet you at an open house once, you're not just getting in my database, because I know you cost me $195 per year. So I'm really vetting the people that are in my database for how much money I'm going to spend on them. But the most important thing is that each client brings in just under 3,000, even if they don't move that year, because they're part of a system. And what's amazing is that I no longer have to wake up worried about my next sale, because I know this is going out every single month. This is just a system. This is a checklist. This is just a visual representation of what that checklist looks like.
Yeah, it's beauty. And just for our Winnipeg crew here watching, so if you're doing the math on this, even at 59 sales, at say an average commission rate here, Tom, you're gonna, it's $6,000 a pop is what our kind of average commission is. So I mean, that's still $354,000 on 45. So that's still insane return, right?
And it's the people you already wanted to work with, and that's why I think like everyone watching this has a database of people, and so figure out, are the people in your database, should they really be there? Are you willing to spend money on them? And if there's 100 people, then you can do 20 transactions. I promise. Like, it's totally doable. Totally doable. Okay. Quickly, I'll just go over this, and then we'll do the Q&A. That's kind of like the touch point system. And for anyone that's watching this that works as a single agent, I used to run this whole system myself. At this point, I've kind of delegated it to my assistant, and she puts it all in place, and I just kind of give it a thumbs up. But I used to run this all myself. It's totally doable. And it lets you get to a place where you could bring in someone else to actually run it for you. On top of that, I talked about every month, I'm doing the update video. Yearly, especially now, I'm going into my Gmail and I'm getting the list of names for birthdays for that month, and I'm pre-recording a happy birthday video. Like, think about anyone having a birthday going through what's happening now. Like, their birthday sucks, right? Like, make a fun video. So I'm everywhere at all times. Clients joke with me about it, but no one's ever once unsubscribed from my newsletter or my videos or anything, because I think at the end of the day, if you're giving valuable content and you're having fun with it, and here, I'll stop sharing for a sec. The big thing is, my first videos that I ever made, I looked like this. I was like, and people would, because I was trying to be this professional version of myself, which I'm not. And people would be like, hey, Tom, I watched your video, like, looked great. Like, how come your eyebrows didn't move? Right? So,
hitting the Botox a little hard there, Tom. Yeah.
Here's the thing. Anyone that's still worried about video, what I need you to remember is the video is not about you. And that's what you have to get through your mind, especially when it's one-on-one. those bomb videos I'm doing with client updates, like you're this big in the bottom corner. My face is this big. It's not about you. It's about the information that you're giving. And I think that's what we need to remember. The birthday videos, it's not about how I look. It's their birthday. It's I'm telling them what their house is worth. It's I'm inviting them to a cool event. It's not about you. And I think that's just something that we got to keep in mind.
Awesome. One question came in talking about the micro events here. It says, when you're a newer agent and don't have a big of database of past clients or inactive clients, would micro events be good to do with potential future clients as well as past clients?
Absolutely. I actually, this is how I started with it. Yeah, I think even if you have people that you're starting to work with right now, or even if they've never done a transaction, but they're those people that already trust you, absolutely invite those people first and show them a good time. And what I've learned over the years of real estate is to be good at real estate, a lot of it actually has nothing to do with selling houses. It's treating people right. The three things, if you want to write this down, patience is number one. I promise you, if you put this plan in place and you're patient with it, it will work. Consistency is number two. The only difference between the agent making $1 million and the person scraping by is that the agents that do it on a high level are doing it consistently every single day. I see this time and time and time again. It's doing those small, boring tasks. That's what success is. And number three is execution. Stop being a planner. If you got an idea, do it and then figure it out. Like, I honestly think like patience, consistency, execution. I have those printed out. I'm obviously not at the office right now. I'm at my house, but at my office, I have those 3 words in front of my desk to remind me daily. Like, that's the difference. You want to run an awesome business, you got to focus on those things.
Yeah. Awesome stuff. And you mentioned something in there, even through our past talks, just about this wasn't, you had some crazy epiphany. Like, you looked at agents and what they did and you modeled yourself after what the successful agents were already doing, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. I think nothing fundamentally has changed in real estate in 30 years. The tools that we use to get the information across, but everything I'm doing online, the whole point of it is to take the conversation offline, right? Like, nothing's really changed. My listing presentation, which, by the way, my listing presentation, my buyer presentation, all my systems, I'm going to share a link at the end of this. You can all have access to it. And what I'm saying is take it, tweak it, make it better, and report back to me with what's working for you, because that's what I did. I just went to successful agents. I said, would you mind sharing your buyer presentation with me? And you'd be surprised. The people that are truly confident in their business model know that it's not just the system alone what makes them successful. It's them actually doing it. And we all have the same information. So yeah, to answer your question, all I really did is I modeled myself off people that I respected in the industry and what they were doing. And I was shocked at how many people were literally ready to lay it on a platter for me, saying, here's exactly what I use. You go make it your own. It's really cool.
Yeah, it was, we had actually like a top performer Remax agent who is completely, who trades and works in our neighboring community, like their direct competition. And we had her on a couple weeks ago and she went, same thing, here you go. Send her listing, but did all that stuff because off camera, she said, I know no one's going to actually, 2 people are going to actually do it. And it's exactly what you said, execution, right? You can have all these plans and all these great ideas, but if you don't execute on anything, well, they're worthless, right? So.
Yeah, real estate is there are simple things that we can do every day to enhance our business and our life and our clients. That's the problem. They're simple. They're simple, and we don't think about them as being serious. Where if you took it seriously, and like I said before, and I'll come back to this, 3 things: money-making activities, right? You can show properties, which brings offers, right? You can meet with a new buyer, which lets you show properties, or you can meet with a new seller, which helps you list properties. That's the money-making activities. If you can't fill those into your slots every single week, what other activities do you have to do to book those activities? So is that open houses, right? Is that calling your database? Is that sending video CMAs? I'd say we have room on our schedule each week for about 10 face-to-face appointments with able to have still a good life. I really truly believe that. And so all you should be focusing on is how to plug in those events. And if you don't have the big 3, go back to the others you can do that get you to the big 3.
Absolutely. I know we're getting, I want to be respectful of your time, but I was hoping you could quickly touch on the listing multiplier and what you do with every listing to try to get those more sales from every listing and get the spin-off business. So you got a
Yeah,
great system
absolutely.
for that.
I'm gonna share my screen once more here.
Yep.
So, oh, okay, let me just pull it down here.
Yeah, we're good. We're up.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so this is a concept. Someone named Dean Jackson actually explained this to me. He's an old school marketing guy, one of the first direct mail guys. And, you know, every listing we take, we have 5 opportunities. However, when we hit our one opportunity, which is like, okay, well, I sold the house, we believe that our job is done. And it is technically to that client. And I want to make very clear, selling the house is still the number one goal. You shouldn't be trying to get the other 4 before you do that. So let's be clear on that. You got to do a good job for your client. But every listing that you have 5 opportunities that you can control. So you can sell the listing. I think we all kind of know how to do that, right? You could find the buyer, or sorry, you could find the next buyer that buys on that street or on that condo or whatever. You could find the buyer for that listing, right? So there's 3.
Mm-hmm.
You could get the next listing on the street, or you could get a referral from the seller. So you have 5 opportunities. Now the seller could also buy, but you're not in control of that. So I didn't put that in here.
Right.
If you went back to all the transactions you've done in 2020 or even 2019 and ranked yourself on a scale of 1 to 5 on each listing, did it bring up more opportunity? What would your score be? I would say the average agent's probably 1 out of 5 or 1.5 out of 5. If you could go up even a half point or a full point, you could 50 times or double your business internally. And I think that's the coolest way to look at this. So then you're going to say, okay, this is all great. What steps do we actually take to do more, right? So here's just a few ideas, right? So, okay, obviously the open house, you know, we all do open houses. Okay, that could potentially find you the buyer. A lot of people coming through that open house are just nosy neighbors that could be the next potential seller.
Yep.
You could do a VIP neighborhood open house. You could do a virtual open house, which is obviously big right now.
Mm-hmm.
The thing I'm seeing with the virtual open houses right now is we're all live streaming on Facebook or Instagram or something, and you're not actually collecting information. So I would recommend for these virtual open houses, have it go to a landing page first that they fill out their name and email, and then it forwards them to the virtual open house so you can collect data. I'm going to go over what my just listed, just sold, and Hey Neighbor cards look like. And again, this is going to sound so simple, but like, do you ask your sellers for referrals? Right? Like,
Yeah.
You know, if when you start the process, something that I've implemented in my listing presentation is like, you know, hey, Michael, thank you so much for having me over. I want to kind of give you an idea of how my business works before we get into all of this. So, you know, 95% of my business every year comes from repeat and referral. It's because of awesome people like you. So my goal here is to do such an awesome job that you can't help but refer me to your friends and family after this. And normally they go like, okay, sounds good. Do a good job, but I'll refer you. And I make a joke out of it.
Yeah.
And then at the end, when I do my job, I go like, okay, so who else? Right? Like,
Yeah.
have fun with it. Don't be salesy about it, but ask. You know, Instagram and Facebook, geo-targeted ads, just sold. It is what it is. Internet's a bit different.
Yeah.
And then this is the easiest way, and I'll send out these templates too, how to connect with your database. So just really quick here, this is what a virtual open house would look like, right? It's just a landing page, which then forwards them to the walkthrough virtual tour, but I collect information.
Mm-hmm.
This is the post-sale or print marketing that still very much works. So when I realized print marketing was going to work again is when I signed up for Google My Business, and Google started mailing me things with ads on it. And I was like, hold on a sec.
Yeah.
There's got to be something to this, right?
Yeah.
So just listed's obvious, just sold is obvious. But then what we're doing is for that direct area, if you want to drop these off by yourself, you can. If you want to send them out through mail walk, you can. You know, 20 houses both ways and the whole other side of the street. Hey neighbor, I just sold a property in your area for a great price. This sale may help increase the value of your home too. Blah, blah, blah. I'll send you what this looks like.
Yeah.
These cards alone, these Hey Neighbor cards have gotten me so much business. It's such a great way to tick up from 1 out of 5 to potentially 2 out of 5.
Beauty.
Okay.
And you said that's the magic in that one too, is having, I mean, you don't actually handwrite them, but having a bit more of a font that looks like handwritten is valuable.
Correct. If you have time and it's like a small little cul-de-sac and you can handwrite it to them, go for it. But I actually, that's my assistant's handwriting, and we just have them done, but it looks really close to being real. Again, I'm not going to take on anything in my business that I can't scale or leverage. Otherwise, all I am is a freelancer.
Right.
Instagram, I'm not going to go over this. People understand how to do ads. This is where I think is interesting. So this is what we call market maker. So if you have a new listing in a specific area, so for this one, it's Trinity Bellwoods in Toronto. This is an inactive client of mine. I keep wanting to say past client, but I'm going to try and stick to my thing. This is an inactive client of mine. Hey, Alana, I have this new listing coming up. I know she's not going to buy it, but I get an opportunity to say, hey, Alana, just checking in. Hope you're doing well. I'm the pro without saying it. I have this new listing. Let me know if you have any questions. And now she still wants to know the info and price. And this led for me to tell her what her condo was worth. And we ended up selling her condo from this one email. So again, it's an easy way to reach out to your database without being salesy to show them you're the pro. If you have a set of new buyers in a specific area, you can also send this out to any of your inactive clients that live in that community. Hey, Jesse, quick favor to ask. I've got a set of buyers in your neighborhood in this price range. I know there's no inventory right now in your pocket. Just in case, have you heard of anyone thinking of selling on your street or your neighborhood? Now, it's an easy, okay, nothing right now, but I'll let you know. But at least I become top of mind. So when he goes outside to his patio that night to barbecue and his neighbor's out there and says something, you know what I mean? Like it's just, that's all it is. All I'm trying to do is remain top of mind.
Absolutely. There's like virtually no harm in that kind of an email going out. And it actually shows as well, you know, when they're going to be looking for their next home. Well, hey, Tom was actually emailing and he was being proactive, trying to find pocket listings, et cetera. Well, I want to have my agent hustle, right? Not just sit on their duff, sending me auto emails.
And what's so cool is that all of this stuff that I showed you, again, it can just be made into a system. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And when you get to the point in your business that you want to bring on an assistant, they can run this all for you. I know not everyone watching is at that point, but the big thing, I'll give like one last piece of just like overall general advice that's been very helpful to me. Calculate how much money you made last year based on a 40-hour work week. So what are you worth per hour? And I guess that most of you are worth more than $20 an hour, okay? And you're currently doing tasks that are $20 an hour tasks. And at some point, you're going to be losing a whole bunch of money on this end of things because you're focusing on putting up the lockbox and the for sale sign yourself on this side of things. It gets to a point where you really have to evaluate. And again, everyone's trying to do things. If you wake up and you're excited about what you're doing, I think you're in a good place, but be strategic about it.
Yeah. And again, hopefully I can steal you for one more minute here.
Yep.
You talked about, you know, what these systems that you've put in have produced, you know, financially and the amount of deals, but I love what's it done for your life? How do you operate right now? Because I know you've told me some interesting things. You haven't even written your own offer in 3 years. So how is this, what is this system and doing this stuff actually led to your life? Not just financially, it's been great. Well, how's your life?
Sure. You know, it's peaceful. There's a calmness. You know, we're in sales, we're in commission, and it's easy to get caught up in running around for that next deal, right? But I have a system that I know is proven, and that's why I'm so excited to share it with you, because I really think it can benefit everyone watching this. Like, I just wake up feeling good, and like, I haven't worked on a Sunday in 4 years. You mentioned, like, I don't even write my own offers. Like, I know that sounds crazy, but it's not like I don't look at them. My assistant writes them. But I have my clauses that I want in there. She then, all I focus on is belly to belly money making activities that are going to get me closer to my goal. And whatever your goals are, whatever that number is, it doesn't matter what it is. If you're doing something that's not directly moving you forward, then I don't know why you're doing it. Like, really, truly. And like I said at the very beginning, when you're creating that ideal day, I don't care if you take naps at 3 p.m. on Thursdays. Okay. If it's in your calendar, you're booked. Like, you know, the best thing I ever learned from my business coach at the beginning is, like, a lot of us try to take our perfect life and fit it into our business, right? It should be the opposite. Take your business and fit it into your life. And if you're worried that one person's not going to work with you because you didn't respond in 5 minutes in their referral, they're probably going to be a tough client anyways. Like, honestly, I really think work with people you like, and to answer the question, to go around, like, yeah, like, I just feel peaceful. I feel in a good place. I'm not worried every year about making more money or what my competition's doing. I just want to beat myself every year. I look at what I did last year. Okay, what can I add? What worked? What didn't work? What can I tweak? That's all I'm looking to do. And always trying to find new ideas. where I hope everyone watching this, if you got one thing that you can take and go implement in your business right now, I think it's worth it. And that's why I invest heavily in training and coaching. And I love even, just talking with you on the phone the other day, just, people that get it. It's like doing these webinars excites me about my business again. And when you start talking about something, you remind yourself of why you actually did it. And I think that's really cool.
Absolutely. I can't thank you enough, Tom. I think you've shared some amazing, I just want to see there's some questions coming in here. But again, thank you. Do you still have time for a couple questions, or I know you got to run?
Yeah.
So
No, I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good till 12:30 or 12:30 Toronto time.
Okay, cool. So if there's any other questions, let them fly here. So one question came in: what's a regular day, pandemic aside? Yep. So what would be a normal, what would be a normal day to normal time look like for you? Wake up time, office. What's the kind of that routine?
Okay, so I'm not like a 5 a.m. crazy guy. I'm a 6:45. The alarm goes off. However, it starts the night before. So in bed at 11 o'clock the night before, we're always on our phones. Anyways, I grab my phone and I pre-schedule an email of the 3 main things I want to accomplish by noon the next day. So when I wake up at 8 a.m., I get that email. I'll go to the office and sit down, and I'll actually print out that email and put it in front of me. And the checking it off is really helpful. The mornings are mostly spent trying to, get back to clients or communicating with people. Like, it's spent on my business, setting up the appointments. And then my afternoons are spent, like, typically I won't show a property until, 2 p.m., like 2 p.m. till 7 p.m. basically is my range. But otherwise it's pretty strategic. I go home every single day at 4 p.m. to let my dog out. And I create a business that lets me do that and still, sell a good amount of real estate and enjoy doing it and work with awesome people.
Awesome. And that's one of the things I love about even just starting with your ideal day and ideal week is everyone, on the call, there's going to be different life situations. People have kids at different ages, all that kind of thing. But that's what's the beauty of it is no matter what you're at in your life, you make your life fit into your business fit into your life. So if your life is crazy and it's kids and all that kind of stuff, great. Schedule it, time block it, and make it work, right? So that's what's the beauty of it.
You know what I've seen is I know a lot of highly, highly successful realtors that bring in like, $2 to $3 million businesses a year. And a lot of them, when they get to the 10-year mark, have like mental breakdowns. and I know it's not funny, but like,
yeah,
I just want you to I don't care how much money you make or how much, be happy about this and work with awesome people, and you're going to run a great business. And I think when you focus on the system I went through today with your core people, I think it's totally doable. I'm not any smarter than anybody else. I'm definitely not. Like, let me be the example that if you just follow the rules, it's going to work.
Absolutely. Yeah. Good stuff. Anybody else have any questions? I think the one coming in here. Again, pandemic aside, I love everyone's pandemic aside. What is one thing you currently struggle with in your business? Interesting.
Okay, so this might actually be really helpful because I kind of just got over this, but it was a big struggle of mine. Like, it kept me for a while. I'm at a point now where I don't work with too many of the buyer clients. But if you're at a point in your business where you work alone, which was what I was for the first few years, you think like it could never happen without you, right? And my struggle was when I brought on my first team member. Okay, how do I say to the buyer, well, you're going to be working with Cam, even though you reached out to me? That was a huge struggle for me. Like, I honestly lost sleep over it. And even now, when my clients are working with team members, I'm constantly trying to make sure everything's good. I'm checking in. So that's what's going on. But, if it's just a day-to-day thing, honestly, I still struggle with sometimes when things are going really well. I'm like, shit, how did I do this? Like, truthfully, like you do a big deal, you have a great month. And it's like, how did this all happen? Right. But, and you always, you wake up January 1st and your year starts at 0, right? If you did President's Gold or Director's Platinum or Diamond or whatever last year, and then you wake up the next year and you're like, okay, I'm 0. Like, I struggle with that. That's terrifying to me. So it's communicating with people every single day to make sure that pipeline of people, like the bucket of apples, it's never not full. There's always things going on in there. So that's how I've tried to help, get over it. But I still struggle. Like sometimes when things are going well, you're like, I don't know how I'm doing this. Like I know what I'm doing, but it's like, you're like, can I do this again? Like I have those same thoughts as everybody else.
Yeah, and I think definitely, you're not alone with that. Especially, I call it the January blues, or it's the new year and everyone starts at zero and you freak out. But I think it's great, being able to go back and rely on that system that you've created and say, okay, well, this is what the system is doing. It's getting predictable results, and you fall back on that. When you don't have a system, when you just are again flying by the seat of your pants, freelancing, yeah, I think that terrifying feeling is real, and you maybe should have it if you really don't know how it's all going to work, right? So. I think it just really emphasizes the point of getting that system in place, tracking it so you know the results that are coming in. You're not just wildly spending money or doing things without having any sense of return. So again,
Yep.
like you mentioned at the very beginning, taking that leap into being an entrepreneur and not just that freelancer.
And that's it. And I think that's how you build the lifestyle too. The main reason why most of us got into real estate, you would say, is like, oh, more time off, right? And making money. Okay, so right. So how do you
How's that
actually
working?
do that? Right. Right. So, it's like, we know that real estate's not like those stupid shows. It's not like, here's the kitchen, that's not why people are hiring us. They're hiring us because we know what we're talking about and we can help them through it. It's not to open the doors. So, and I think the pandemic right now, more than ever, is actually verifying how important realtors are. Because like it's not, people aren't buying their primary residence 100% virtually. That's just not going to happen. There's so many steps along the way. I think right now is actually an opportunity that the public's going to see, like, hey, maybe we actually had some value.
Yeah. Well, I know, and even in the States, we don't have it as much. I'm not sure about in Toronto, but even like the iBuyer and this virtual thing and all those companies and those systems are just plummeting right now.
Yep.
Because again, no one's like, no, we're not taking that risk when the chips are down and things are stressful right now. Yeah, they're not going to an iBuyer. They're not going to a machine to do this kind of decision making. So
Nothing that's
I think it's a great
important.
point, Tom. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I got one other. There's not a question. If there's any other questions, please let them fly. One person just said, not a question, just want to say thank you. It's extremely valuable. So,
Oh, awesome. Thank you.
absolutely. I'll give it kind of a little 10 seconds here, see if anything
Sure.
else comes in.
By the way, you know what? I'll put it in the chat right now and I'll send it to you after. But I just put in the chat, that link will take you to my listing presentation, my buyer presentation, my systems, my trades and services booklet. It's just a Google Doc. Feel free to take it, change it, make it your own.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's in the chat there, guys. I have it as well, so I'll send it out if anybody needs it. Again, Tom, I can't thank you enough, man. You killed it again. And again, thank you so much for being such a valuable resource for us. And again, Tom Storey, downtown Toronto. You got any referrals? There's your guy.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Michael. Have an awesome day, everybody.
You too. Take care, bud.
Okay, bye.